What's going on, guys? It's Greg Farley from the Wiseguys, aka Pegasus, and we're here today to talk about the new Endymion structure deck coming at the third week of April, almost the fourth week. It's going to be on that weekend. Basically, what we have is a new meta contender. Anybody that thinks it's not, I don't think they really understand how to gauge said cards and how they interact with the game when they're first introduced. But with this deck, I think it's pretty obvious. It's kind of under the radar, and I hope it remains that way because that's when decks are very insane, a la Pendulum Magicians in the past and other decks where they kind of go unnoticed. Nobody really talks about them as much as the other decks. I think this deck is going to kind of be in the shadows of Orcus. I think Orcus is going to be the quote-unquote best deck, but this deck is going to be insanely powerful. Make no mistake about it. Now, I could definitely go on and on and on. I'll just let you guys read the effect for yourselves because I hate when people read stuff for me while I can read it for myself. But this card basically special summons itself out of the scale, then destroys cards, negates effects with a spell counter by removing a card with a spell counter on it, negating a spell or trap, and then searching a spell or trap if it's killed by battle, and it's untargetable if it has a spell counter on it. Sorcerer Supreme is a very powerful card, and exactly what the Yu-Gi-Oh community wants when we say we want retrains of cards. Now, there are other things that could be revamped, such as Gemini monsters and so many other plant archetypes and all that jazz. But basically, with this card alone, it's going to make the deck a meta contender. I would venture to say that. Now, I can be wrong. Some people think it's kind of under the radar. Some people think it's an insane card and an insane deck. I think it's on that end. And I think it's going to be the forefront of the meta. Everybody has their own opinions, but as we always do, especially in America, we always ignore what goes on until it proves itself.
And that's a very healthy thing to do in life, is to always wait and see. But sometimes people don't want to wait and see. They want to get the structure decks right off the bat and get rolling, as you see some of the deck variants come across the screen. But Endymion, the Empress of Endymion being a spell counter based card that also bounces monsters as well. I mean, this card is very good. I think it's a 1 or 2 of. Some people aren't playing it at all in other variants, which, you know, that's up to you. But the card, it's pretty much a 1-card Electromite in the Servant of Endymion, and then obviously you have Magister as well. All of these cards have a very powerful usage, and they all semi-float in a pendulum deck. So that lets you know right there the amount of pressure that this deck can apply. So I think at minimum this deck will be meta. Obviously there are some very huge weaknesses, such as Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre is absolutely disgusting against this deck, and we'll see more relevance, at least in the side deck, if not the main deck, as people begin to adjust their hand trap ratios. Whenever you add new decks to the meta, you have to always adjust your hand trap ratio, which I think that's pretty much mandatory at this point. People already know that. And I'll most likely and most definitely be playing this deck myself. But for me, the variant that I'm choosing is based on exactly what can be done pre-pendulum summon. And I think that's why I think Mythical Beast would be the best one out of the gates, just because Spellbook is amazing, but Blue Boy does not equal Electromite. And Zephyra, if you're playing Zephyrath and all that stuff, you're not really playing Endymion, and people want to play the deck. But obviously, we always drift to what the best variant is, and as you saw, Sky Striker is also one. And there's clearly other decks that you could try out to try to mix with it, as long as it's spell heavy. But I think Pendulum Magicians would be the #1 idea that people are already trying to expand and slip Founding Sorcerer into the deck. Again, this has been Greg Farley from the Wiseguys. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and as always, YG baby.